Hello everyone, welcome to the AS Mentor Ethics class. In this class, we are going to understand the core philosophy of Confucius. He was a Chinese scholar. He was living during this time period, 551 to 479 BCE. If you identify in Indian context, which period was going on? I intentionally connect with the Indian context because we are understanding his philosophy to apply for the Indian context. When he was giving his philosophy, what was happening in India? Identify 551 BC to 479 means it is the period of Mahajanapadas in India. Mahajanapada period is also famous for the rise of new philosophies in India also. This is the same period Buddha was living. Identify this one. 563 BC to 483 BC. It was the time period of Buddha. It is almost coinciding with Confucius. That is why 6th century BC, identify this, 6th century BCE is the age of philosophies across the world. Like in case of India, Buddhism, Jainism, in case of China, Confucius, in case of Persian, Zoroastrianism, new ideas are emerging. And almost if you see the factors behind the rise of these ideas, almost similar. Once we understand Confucius philosophy also, you will understand that every philosophy talks about almost similar thing only. But only in that particular context, they were trying to give awareness to the public. See this, Confucius 551 to 479 BC. During that time period, China was like in case of India. Same like India, at that particular time period also, there were small kingdoms. In case of India, Mahajanapadas, like that. Now, he was giving in the context that society forgot past values. That means he is talking about his time period. So during his time period, he was thinking that his society forgot what were the good values that were given by Chinese society to the Chinese people. In between, they lost, they forgot it. And Confucius used to say that I am only following what my ancestors have given me, these values. In case of even Buddha, Mahavira also, they were trying to highlight Upanishadic thought. In Rigveda, good values were there that they lost after some time. Upanishadic thought is a kind of a revival of those good values. Buddhism, Jainism also used to depend on Upanishadic thought and they give some more values to that. In his case also similar. What is his core philosophy? Confucius believed that moral character, not power or punishment, creates a just society. Buddha also talks about that only, just society where no exploitation. So now, when it comes to the characters, nature of any society, you take any kind of society, whether it is the society in which Aristotle was living, Socrates was living, Plato was living, or Guru Nanak was living, or Prophet Muhammad was living, Jesus was living, Buddha was living, Mahavira was living. You consider any kind of philosopher. If you consider enlightenment phase also like Kant, you will identify some social, economic, political evils were there. These philosophers are trying to give solution to that. One kind of society is injustice in the society. Injustice means some were rich, some were poor. When it comes to poor, poor were getting exploited. And when it comes to rich, they live in lavish life. Hard work comes from some other person and enjoyment goes to some other person. Injustice. Now, when it comes to the rich, privileged, no privileges. Injustice means by birth, some people were declared as privileged people, pure people, some were considered impure. By birth, injustice in the society. Next one. Third one, inequalities. This will be there. Now, whenever such kind of society is there, violence takes place. Wherever inequality, injustice is there, violence is obvious. You take in the present day circumstance or medieval times, ancient times, you doesn't matter. Every time violence often accompanied with injustice, or reverse, injustice or inequalities accompanied with violence. People used to justify violence for the sake of maintaining. One person commit violence in the name of preserving social order, tradition. One section resort to violence to protest or to fight against injustice. Everywhere. You take French Revolution. State is creating violence in the name of maintaining social order, whereas rebels fought against that system to create a just society. You take Russian Revolution, same thing. During Confucius time period also, these were the injustice, inequalities. That is why now one way, either violent one or non-violent one. Buddha, Mahavira, they have chosen non-violent path to bring reformation in the society. When it comes to Confucius also, he is telling that Confucius believed moral character, not power or punishment, creates a just society. If people are moral, when this kind of society is there, if a person is moral, if rich person is a moral person, what rich person will do? Rich person will try to share his or her wealth with the underprivileged section of the people. When it comes to the people who are not having enough means to live, generally sometimes they will resort to robbery, theft. It could be, reasons could be anything. People can justify robbery, theft by saying that their society is injustice, that's why they are adopting to this kind of methods. And out of different immoral character also, people resort to this. That is why whenever a person is moral in nature, creates a just society. Ethical behavior emerges from self-cultivation, right conduct, and harmonious relationships. Now, when it comes to the society, upper class, lower class, rich, poor, urban, rural. Now, let me write contrasting differences. Rich, poor. Next, urban, rural, contrasting. Next, educated, uneducated. Next, upper class, lower class. When a society is like this, now, powerful, powerless, powerless. When it comes to this, now this section may exploit this section. If values are inculcated here, ethics, morality inculcated in them, this kind of exploitation, injustice, inequality, cruelty, ruthlessness, you give all the, so far you have understood in different philosophies. With respect to Swami Vivekananda, we also have seen this side British, this side Indians. This is the result, the interaction. Confucius is saying that if people are following values, ethics, morals, then the relationship between all sections of society is going to be harmonious. No conflict, harmonious. Otherwise, conflict will take place. And conflict means again it disturbs the further relationship, and violence breeds further violence. Stability will not be there. Friendly relations will not be there. Harmonious relations will not be there. That is why values in each and everyone. A state can impose certain values, but people may not violate the law out of fear. But in the long run, if that change comes from within, that is going to long last. That is why he says that personally, ethical behavior emerges from self cultivation, right conduct, and harmonious relationships. If people develop ethical values, the relationships will be harmonious. Again, ethical behavior emerges from harmonious relationship, right conduct, and self cultivation. If people adopt good values, good conduct, then automatically ethical relationships can be developed. He has given, these are the different Chinese terminologies, but the meaning is very simple. Whatever we understood with respect to Swami Vivekananda, Kant, Buddha, all these principles are similar only. Core ideology: humanness, compassion. The highest virtue, kindness, empathy, and goodwill towards others. Identify this one. Now, rich, poor. When it comes to poor, these people are suffering from hunger, poverty. These people live in lavish life. These people having even no shelter also. They do not have shelter. They do not have food. Hungry, suffering from illness, suffering from hunger. If this is the society, if one person is enjoying this, if there is a compassion, then people will help these people. That is how compassion, kindness, empathy, goodwill towards others. Do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself. If someone treats you inhumanly, you will not appreciate it. If you are not liking that kind of inhuman treatment towards you, you should not treat others also inhumanly. If you expect equality towards you, you should give equality to others also. If you are not liking untouchability practiced against you, then you should not practice untouchability against others. That's what this golden rule. This is one of the golden rules of the human conduct, that do not do, like if you don't want others to behave in a negative manner, means you should not behave the way you don't like, you should not do in the same manner to others. Do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself. If someone is imposing on you certain values, if you don't like, same behavior you should also follow towards others. If you are not liking, others also will not like you. If you impose certain values on them, don't do it. Golden rule. That is what empathy. Next, ritual propriety or proper conduct ethics of behavior. This is called Li. These are the Chinese terms like Ren, Li. Ethical behavior comes from following norms, customs, discipline, and appropriate behavior. Lee creates societal order, stability, and predictability. So these, as he was saying that, he is saying, I am not giving something new. My ancestors have given certain values. Those values coming in the form of customs, norms. If you follow this, automatically, if majority follow this, then it becomes a stability. And people also have certain kind of stability in the social order and also predictability. That if people are following norms and customs, then there will be predictability. People try to behave in harmonious manner. Suppose if there is something, if someone lost some kind of purse or some money, if society is not taking that particular wealth, even if it is opening, if it is lying open, then there will be predictability that in this society, theft will not take place. Everyone can feel safe that there will be no robbery, there will be no theft, people will not kill over property. That kind of predictability will come. But if that is not happening, then predictability will not come. Someone lost the purse, purse may be there, may not be there. Predictability will not come. In the same manner, here he says, if you follow the customs, norms, whatever ancestors have given, according to his context, he is saying that behavior, discipline, appropriate behavior creates order, stability, and predictability. Next, when it comes to civil services, how can we apply this philosophy? Means civil servants must respect the institutional procedures, whatever constitution has given. So here in this sense, norms, customs, discipline means whatever constitution has given. The constitution has given certain values. If civil servants follow those values, country can have some kind of predictability, some norms that government will behave in just manner, not injustice will happen. That's why we can trust the laws. We can work as per the law. And if there is injustice to anyone, people also predict that the people who are violating will be punished as per the law. That kind of predictability will come. That's what civil servants must respect institutional procedures, rules, proprietary discipline align with righteousness or moral duty. Doing what is morally right even when it conflicts with self-interest. For the overall picture, for the overall good of the society, if someone behaves in the same manner above self-interest, it is called righteousness. That is the moral duty. That is also integrity plus moral courage. When it comes to practical usage, even if there is a political pressure against the civil servants, if civil servants follow the constitutional values, that is called righteousness. That is what moral duty. That's what when it comes to Kant, he says that when you violate, outside, then it is illegal. If you commit anything wrong outside, it is immoral to the outside world. But the moment you think inside to commit wrong, that itself you are guilty in front of ethics. So if you commit crime, then you are guilty in front of the law. But if you think about the crime, then you are guilty in front of the ethics. That's what righteousness, moral duty means. Irrespective of the self-interest, you have to follow your right thought. Wisdom, ethical behavior requires moral intelligence, knowing right from wrong. There is sentence that the moment you know what is ignorance, then automatically you are a wise person. Ignorance means, suppose telling a lie, stealing, some of the social evils, some of the immoral acts like speaking a lie, not true, to tell the truth, that is moral, ethical. But if you lie, that is immoral, unethical. Then stealing, cruelty towards others. Now, when it comes to this, ethical behavior requires moral intelligence, knowing right from the wrong. If people know that this is right, This is wrong. That itself is moral intelligence. The moment you understand, the moment you know what is ignorance, then automatically you are going to become ethical person. Next, ethical competence, rational decision making, situational awareness. Trustworthiness, honesty, reliability, credibility. A leader must be truthful for society to trust him. Like in the context of Indian society, politics, administrator, politics means so many promises are going to be made during election time period. If leaders honor those commitments, then that becomes trustworthiness. People trust the leaders, and once again, leaders will get the chance. A leader must be truthful for society to trust him. Transparency, accountability, building public trust. In case of administration, in case of civil services, the decisions are taken by the civil servants, if they are in transparent manner, trust increases towards the governance, and people also going to follow the laws. If they trust the law, then people automatically follow the law. Next one. Ideal ethical person, noble officer. Confucius model of an ideal leader administrator is someone who possesses these traits. Moral excellence, that means knowing what is correct, what is incorrect, having the wise wisdom, having the ethical intelligence, self-discipline. The moment laws are given for a civil servant, constitution, whatever constitution says, following in disciplined manner. Civil servant will not follow these norms for the sake of others. For the sake of others, for the fear of punishment, people should not follow. If they are self-disciplined, they will automatically follow. That's what he says. Suppose if corruption is a punishable offense, in case of Indian context and civil services context, Confucius law says, if people are fearful, if civil servants are fearful of this, then they will not go for corruption. That is one way of stopping the corruption. But this cannot be maintained for long. People becomes more ethical if they are not, if they are following the good values not because of punishment, but because of it is moral value. It is because of truth. It is because of self-discipline. It is because of wisdom that this is incorrect. Wisdom means the knowledge, ethical knowledge, ethical intelligence that this is incorrect, this is immoral, this is unethical. That's why people are not following this, not because of fearful. If people do because of this, if they don't corrupt themselves, then that is a true wise person. That is what exactly he says. A good administrator too should possess these values, self-discipline. Not because of someone is punishing you, you are committing good things, but because you want to perform good things because they are good. So performing good things for the sake of good, that's what Kant also is going to say later in 1800s. Confucius is talking about these values long ago. The same thing in Buddhism, Jainism also will come. Compassion towards others. That's what Buddha also. Jainism also talk about compassion. If you are seeing the suffering of others, you should show sympathy and compassion to help others. Justice, you have to follow the justice. He is saying these are the qualities. A person who is following these characters, they are called ideal leaders, ideal administrator. Humility, even though people are in powerful position, they were at most to the ground level and they are accessible to the people. They will not show the arrogance of power. Humility, lifelong learning, continuous learning. That's what differentiate people from ignorance to the wisdom. That is all. Next, ideal civil servant. values-based relationship. So when it comes to mains answer writing, you have to mention like this. These are things. These are the common values. If you take Swami Vivekananda, similar things will come. If you take Confucius, same thing. Buddhism, same thing. Kant, same thing only we are getting. We are getting repetition of these values only. Everyone is talking about good values like honesty, integrity, moral values, trustworthiness, courageousness. These are all the common values. But to differentiate in your answer, if you quote this, according to Confucius, the terms like Zunzi, Shin, Zi, Yi, Li, these are the Chinese terms. If you mention some of them, then that differentiate your answer from the others. Next one, Confucius ethics and public administration. Same thing. Whatever values that we have discussed, if they follow in the relationships, then that society becomes just society, ethical society. Role ethics, duty according to position. According to Confucius, if people follow their roles properly, that means father and son. Father should do what he is supposed to do. Son is supposed to do what he is supposed to do. Ruler and subject. Ruler should think about welfare of the people. Subject should follow the order of the society and order of the rulers. If they follow their base, their rules, their duties properly, then that society becomes ethical society. Husband, wife, senior, junior. When it comes to civil services, his values are useful in understanding duty of the public servants, the relationship between senior and junior, and also follow the norms established by the organization or the constitution. If people know their duties, then someone need not to keep on always tell that what is your duty, or automatically people will keep performing their duties. Moral leadership, good leaders claim lead by moral example, not by force. If leaders want to bring certain change in the society, they cannot bring that change in the society by force, by leading through example. If leaders want a just society, and if leader is just, automatically that creates a chain of events which lead to just society. If leader at the top is injustice, immoral, not truthful, then the followers of that leader also will behave in the same manner. That is what a good leader lead by moral example, not by force. Just because a leader is having force, force cannot be used to bring reformation. If leaders lead by example, then automatically through peaceful mechanism, society will get reformed. That is why the change that comes through fear is not long lasting. But if the change that comes through moral duty, it is going to last forever. Nation improves when leaders are ethical. That's what. Ethical public administration, leadership by example, integrity of top officers. If top officers are ethical, then juniors also follow him. If top officer is corrupt, then his juniors also follow the same thing. Social harmony. Confucius emphasized cooperation, reducing conflict, respecting diversity. It is applicable for India also. That's what. Social harmony. People follow different ideas, different religions, different languages, different customs, different festivals, still respecting everyone, harmonious relationship. That respect, giving respect is ethical, not that is moral. Conflict resolution, community participation, inclusive governance. And when it comes to Eastern and Western society, it is similar to Indian values and Western values. Like social harmony, thinking about society. When it comes to Western, this is individual rights. When it comes to here, duty-based relational ethics, rule-based. When it comes to Western societies, the so-called modern values means they want everything rule, codified. If they codify and if there are rules, then just people need to follow those rules. People just need to follow that codified laws. But when it comes to Confucius or Eastern values, that tradition, in moral based tradition itself gives those values, following that moral duty, ethical self cultivation, people themselves cultivate these values. Someone need not to enforce them if you cultivate yourself. That is what Confucius says: social harmony, duty based, moral examples of leaders, ethical self cultivation. That means change comes from the people behavior Change comes from the people's values and the people beliefs, people conduct. Whereas Western theory says that this change will come from the law. If you impose the law, automatically people are afraid of this law and people are going to change their behavior. That is the core difference. And when it comes to rule of law means this only, everything codified, then just the society has to follow that codified laws, then automatically just society can be built. That's what Western. Whereas Confucius says that if that reformation comes from within, that is what Confucius core idea. How to use Confucius in case studies? Political pressure case. If civil servants are pressurized by the political masters, still following the moral ethics, give them courageousness, righteous behavior, moral conduct. Corruption case, public protest situation, dialogue, empathy. Instead of using the power, having the dialogue, showing sympathy to the cause, compassion towards the people and people's sufferings, then a solution will come which is which is going to help larger sections of the society. And these are the summary of whatever we have discussed. All right. So these are the different values taught by Confucius. If you see, the values are going to be very, very like similar to Buddhism, similar to Kant, similar to Swami Vivekananda, similar to Gandhiji. These kind of values only. Gandhiji also talk about the similar values like 7 sins. Every moral philosopher ultimately boil down to those core principles only. Only the terminology will change. As he belongs to Chinese society, Chinese terminology will come. When it comes to Indian society like Buddha, Jaina, Indian Sanskrit, Prakrit, these terminologies will come. But the ultimate meaning is those core values, universal values. Everyone is talking about those universal values, being truthful, honest, having integrity, trustworthiness. That's what, then only a just society can be built. All right. This is with respect to ethics, one of the issues related to moral thinkers. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.